Once upon a time, video game characters looked and sounded like this.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
I have made a creature to rule over mankind.
Oh boy, I'm so hungry I could eat an Octorok.
Nowadays though, games have the budget and cultural standing to invite celebrities to lend their voice talent to enrich a player's gaming experience, like Liam Neeson as your dad in Fallout 3, Charles Dance as the king in Witcher 3, and Gary Oldman as shouty Russian man in Call of Duty.
There! On the ledge! Shoot him!
But sometimes, a game's director wants their actors to give more than just a vocal performance. They want to stick them in a mocap suit so they can record and replicate an actor's face and performance in painstaking detail. Nowadays, more and more famous faces are popping up in games. Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe both star in Beyond Two Souls. Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen appear in Death Stranding, and even Keanu Reeves is making an appearance in Cyberpunk 2077. While I went just as crazy as this audience during Keanu's big reveal, once the dust settled, I started to ask myself, isn't seeing his in-game face going to be super distracting? This got me thinking about what a celebrity's digitised face really adds to a video game. From a publicity and marketing point of view, it's a no-brainer. You get to put their name and face on the poster, and it casts a wide net appealing to audiences that otherwise wouldn't bat an eye at video games, especially those film fans. Beyond Two Souls even features the names of the two leads on the box, just like a DVD, to pique the interest of curious film aficionados. But it's one thing to have a fancy name on a poster, and another seeing a digital reconstruction of our favourite actors walking and talking during gameplay. Because surely, they're just going to look super weird. At least, that was my concern when I dove into Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding, the most recent game to really take advantage of facial capture tech by applying it to a dizzying cast of actors. I expected to be unmoved by a naked and weeping Norman Reedus as he cradled his fetus, but in reality, the opposite was true. The performances successfully drew me into the experience, and honestly, I stopped thinking about them altogether after just a few moments of the game. It blew me away to think that we have the technology to put convincing faces into a game. But will I still feel the same about Death Stranding's faces in 5 years' time? The end result of importing an actor's face into the digital realm can, for better and for worse, best be described as uncanny. By using Ellen Page's likeness, you invite people to draw comparisons to the real thing, and while this is unmistakably Juno, there's also something a little off about how she looks. A stiff head turn or a dodgy bit of lip syncing is just enough to remind your brain that you're not actually looking at a human face. This is when the Uncanny Valley starts weaving its ugly magic. When we see a face that's not quite human, we emotionally reject it. So instead of feeling empathy for a character, we may feel repulsed by them, and that's clearly not the reaction the game wants.
At some point it gets creepy.
Thankfully, a lot of these faces still look pretty convincing, but will they still hold up a few years down the line? The goalposts for the Uncanny Valley are always shifting. Case in point, Heavy Rain's tech demo. When I first saw this in 2006, I thought it was the dog's bollocks. Now it just looks bollocks. Beyond Two Souls came out 6 years ago, and already the characters are starting to look a little rough around the edges, and that ultimately hurts the player's immersion. Nothing dates the game faster than striving to achieve a photorealistic look, and because technology is rapidly improving, these faces will increasingly look like a product of their time as time goes by. Sometimes a celebrity appearance can date your game for other reasons. All this is not to say that mocap and celebrity talent don't have a place in games, far from it. Studios like Naughty Dog and Rockstar have used this tech to deliver games that feature stunning animations and faces. The reason all these faces work is because they blended them with the game's art style to cleverly avoid the Uncanny Valley. It also helps when we have no preconceptions about what the characters should look like. The game that truly made me appreciate the power of facial technology is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul, and Senua's eyes are simply captivating. The game achieves an unmatched sense of intimacy and intensity thanks to Melina Jurgen's solo performance. Her expressions convey so much humanity that it's impossible not to be invested in her struggle. Best part? Jurgens isn't even an actress. She's Ninja Theory's video editor, the definition of an unknown talent. To drive my point home even harder, here's Andy Serkis reciting Macbeth as he proves how to do mocap right. Here's the digitized version of his face.
From day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time.
It's unmistakably him, but it's falling just outside the realm of the Uncanny Valley. When they imported his face and performance onto an original character, however, this was the result.
A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more.
Talk about terrifying screen presence, just look at those convincing forehead wrinkles. Imagine going against this guy as a final boss, or even just having a conversation with him. I think this little piece of tech neatly demonstrates exactly how I think facial capture technology should be utilised, by taking an actor's performance and using it to animate an original or stylised character. At the moment, it sometimes feels like the objective behind putting an actor into a game is purely for marketing purposes. I don't think that Death Stranding or Beyond Two Souls would have had the same buzz around their release if they didn't have some big names attached to them. Motion capture is really wonderful technology, capable of adding authenticity and life to character animations. I just don't think it's being put to best use in explicitly recreating famous faces. In the worst cases, this creative decision ultimately hurts a game and its lasting appeal. Celebrities do have a real place in gaming, and it's great that we already have awards dedicated to recognising talented voice and motion capture performances at the Game Awards. But their appeal shouldn't be seen as a quick and easy way for a game to achieve cultural capital. When incorporating a celebrity into a game, don't emphasise their looks, emphasise their performance. That's what truly breathes life into a game's characters, and that's what matters most when it comes to storytelling.
This is the most advanced character model we've ever created, and just the way the flesh can move over the bone, the kind of subtlety we can get at the eyes. Like, we could never cut to a close-up of eyes before because we couldn't get the fidelity. Now we can.